He's a complete package, and I don't know how he fell in the draft the way he did.
Only 2 interceptions. He hasn't thrown an interception since week 3.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
Everyone was eating.
Hello and welcome to Football X's and O's, our weekly tactics show giving you the inside analysis on the best NFL matchups every Monday. We'll take a deeper dive into the Rams' dominant 42-26 win over the division rival 49ers in Week 10. I'm Ryan Snoot. Alongside me is NFL expert David Scott. David, the Rams just keep rolling over teams.
Yeah, we're going to show a lot of love to the Rams in this video. We really like what they're doing. This was an awesome game for them and their prospects going forward, and I'm excited to talk about it.
All right, what topics do you have for us?
All right, so we're going to talk about Veterans Day. Matthew Stafford, one of the longest tenured players in the league. He just continues to ball out week after week. So we're going to really focus in on what he's doing so well. We're going to talk about screen break. Puka Nacua broke off a fun little screen play. He's been super versatile, coming back from injury a few weeks ago. Looks like his old self. A lot of fun to watch. Flat out unstoppable. Davante Adams in the red zone is just a menace this year. Seems like he's Matt Stafford's favorite target once they get down there. So we're going to dive into one of his touchdowns from last week. We're talking about tight end slay. Matt Stafford really likes using his tight ends. He's been doing it more and more as the season goes on. And that was no different this week. Really loves working with Cody Parkinson, Tyler Higbee, those kind of guys. Cody Parkinson got the touchdown in this game. And then we're going to talk about double trouble. The Rams wide receiver core, Puka Nacua and Davante Adams, I think one of the best duos in the league. We'll look at their stats and what's going so well for them this year.
All right, let's get to the quarterbacks, and we have to start with Matthew Stafford. He just picked apart that 49ers depleted defense, just going crazy on that defense. This was the third straight game of 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's an NFL record. Talk to me about Matthew Stafford and just the way he just delivers himself and helps his teammates.
He's aging like fine wine. It's just he's so good out there. This Rams offense is very tailored to his skill set. And they just seem so composed out there. They know that they can beat anyone. And yeah, sure, the 49ers defense is really banged up right now, but it's week after week after week where Matt Stafford is very composed with the football. He's very safe with the football, but at the same time, he's having no trouble driving it down the field, hitting guys deep, hitting tight windows. His connection with Puka Nacua and Davante Adams and his running backs and his tight ends has been very special this year. He's got about 23 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He hasn't thrown an interception since week 3. This guy's going crazy, and he's MVP right now.
I was just about to ask you, he's your MVP right now. I mean, it has to be. I mean, there's other quarterbacks that have good stat lines, but Matthew Stafford, this is someone that he needs an MVP on his resume. He doesn't have one, and I think this is finally the year we get to see it from him.
Yeah, Drake May's playing really well, guys like that, but Stafford's been nearly flawless with the football. It looks like he's going to get close to 45 touchdowns this season. Who knows how few interceptions he could have. It's just, this is an MVP stat line so far, and I don't see any way that he's going to slow down. He's been doing it against good competition, and their schedule is not incredibly difficult going forward, but at the same time, he plays better when the matchup's tougher. He really plays well in these divisional games. He has no fear. I love what he's doing, and going forward, I think it's going to continue like this. 3, maybe more passing touchdowns a game, no interceptions, around 250 passing yards. It's just what he does. If he keeps that up going forward, no one's taking MVP from him.
And to Mac Jones, he had a great game, but obviously it's tough to, have the same stats as Matthew Stafford, no picks. Mac Jones had 1 interception, but what did you see in Mac Jones? He's obviously been pretty good this year. What did you see in this game from him?
Yeah, I think he's pretty composed with the football like Stafford is too. We talked about him in our mid-season episode where I said he was my surprise of the year. And it's true. I mean, Mac Jones has been spectacular this year in relief of Brock Purdy. And I would question which one of them is better, but Brock Purdy's going to come back in eventually. But Mac Jones has been great with the football. I feel like they have a depleted wide receiver core. A lot of guys are hurt. No Ayuk. No Ricky Pearsall. George Kittle just came back. He scored a touchdown in this game. He's been doing this with a ragtag crew, and sure, he's still got Christian McCaffrey back there. That's always going to help, but McCaffrey didn't have a huge impact in this game. It was a lot of Mac Jones throwing the ball down the field, finding guys open. He looked great. 1 interception, whatever. You got 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards, and he's been averaging just about 300 yards per game. It's been very good stuff from Mac Jones. He's had to put the team on his back with all these injuries, and he's done a good job of doing that.
And I agree. He's had to deal with a depleted wide receiver group. Obviously, still hasn't had Brandon Ayuk. Do you think when Brock Purdy is healthy, they'll go to him? Or do you say, you know what, Mac Jones, until he falls off a cliff, just keep riding with him?
Yeah, you never want to lose your job because of injury, and I think most teams agree with that. They probably won't take Brock out because he's hurt. A lot of people talk about soft benchings where someone's quote-unquote injured and the backup continues playing. I don't believe in soft benchings. I don't think that's a real thing. I think that's just something that fans make up when they need an agenda. So I figure when Brock Purdy is healthy, he's going to come back into this game. Turf toe is a nagging thing. You don't want to force it. We saw that in Week 4 against the Jaguars. They brought him in too early, and he re-aggravated that injury. So I think they're going to be safe with it. And the NFC is pretty, not wide open, but there's a lot of competition in it. They'll be able to be in contention for a playoff spot for a few weeks. So let Mac Jones keep doing what he's doing. When Brock Purdy is ready and near 100%, he doesn't have to be 100%, but 95%, maybe 90%, then you can put him back in.
I totally agree. All right, to the plays we go. Rams are up 7-0. 2nd and 10 on the 49ers' 22-yard line. This is in the first quarter, 5 minutes left, and Stafford finds Puka Nacua.
Yeah, this really speaks to Puka Nacua's skill set as just an all-around player. He can get down the field deep, he can make contested catches, or he can use his legs to get you some yards after the catch. So this is a nice screenplay that we've built up here. Now, the defensive coverage here doesn't really matter because once that ball gets to Puka, everyone's swarming to him. So it doesn't matter who's covered where. The ball is getting to Puka around the goal line, and then we just go for a scramble, and we try to get to the end zone. And this is really a testament to the blocking down the field and Nacua's field vision and elusiveness. So once he catches this ball, his tight ends just barrel down the field, start taking guys out, and it's up to Nacua to work around that, get down the field and into the end zone, which he has no problem doing, just bounces around guys, follows his blocks very well, uses his speed for a successful play.
I like the way they use the tight ends, the blocking, whether it's, running the football with Kyron or, having the tight ends as pass catchers. For this instance, like you said, the blockers are there, the tight ends. You got to love what Sean McVay does with his tight ends. Sometimes he has 3 tight ends on the field.
Yeah, McVay is one of those guys who is always going to have a tight end on the field, like whether it's 2 or 3 guys, or he loves having a lot of teams will do a no tight end set where they just like throw everyone out there and go way deep. No, Sean McVay loves having those guys out there, and he's got great tight ends, top to bottom. He really loves using all of them. There's no odd man out in this tight end group, and on top of that, he's got some pretty big tight ends, and these guys are very capable blockers, which helps him out in a lot of different types of plays. And we'll look at a play later that utilizes blocking, tight end blocking and catching. But in this instance, the guys are getting down the field in order to facilitate Puka Nacua getting down the field with that screen pass. They execute it flawlessly. There's no issues there. Puka uses his speed. The tight ends use their size. It works out perfectly.
Going back to Puka Nacua, I mean, the yards after the catch, I think he's one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to yards after the catch. And just his footwork, I feel like there's not really one aspect where you're like, you know what, Puka needs to work on this. Puka, he's a complete package, and I don't know how he fell in the draft the way he did. And the Rams just swoop in and draft him.
Yeah, we don't really have a term for it in football like we do. In baseball, they say you have a 5-tool player, a guy who can just do everything on the diamond. We don't really have a term for that in football, but Puka is a 5-tool player. He's a great pass catcher. He's a great runner. He's a great route runner. He's very elusive. He's got IQ, awareness. He does everything on the football field that you want your wide receiver 1 to do. And he's also possibly the wide receiver 1 in all of the NFL. He's a great ball player. It is crazy that he fell so far in the draft. And a lot of teams are hurting because of it, because him and Stafford have a great connection, and they're lighting teams up week after week.
That's true. All right, to the second play we go. Fast forward to the third quarter. Rams up 21-14, 2nd and goal at the 2-yard line, and Stafford connects with Davante Adams.
Yeah, this has becoming just a very repetitive sight of Matt Stafford throwing red zone touchdown to Davante Adams. Adams leads the NFL. He's got 8 touchdowns in the red zone now. That's more than any other receiver, tight end, running back, whatever you want. This is a special connection. This is man coverage the whole way. And basically, the game here is Davante Adams, go get open. Well, we don't care what's happening. Go get open. It's a bit of a corner route / goal line fade. Pretty much go hit your corner, break off of him, and get yourself open. Davante Adams is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, one of the best wide receivers of this generation, and he has no problem doing that. He's been doing this for years, for a decade. He gets separation like no other wide receiver. And Matt Stafford, very accurate quarterback, once he sees Adams hit that corner, he's just going to toss it up there. Adams is going to run himself open. This is an easy touchdown. As Stafford is staring Adams down on this play. There's no other option. I'm getting this football to Davante Adams. And it's so easy. They have no issue doing this. Like I said, 8 red zone touchdowns. when Stafford gets to the red zone, he doesn't want his running back, he doesn't want his tight end, he doesn't want Puka Nacua, he wants Davante Adams, and it works every time.
Exactly right. And Tom Brady said at the time, too, right before the play happened, there's one-on-one, Davante Adams. Stafford's going to find him. Sure enough, he did. Just Davante Adams knows what he's doing. He's a veteran. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Just him going from Aaron Rodgers twice and then now having Matthew Stafford, this is just a Super Bowl, not just a contender, a Super Bowl favorite team, in my opinion, in the NFL.
Yeah, there's stars all around this team. And when you have a secondary connection here, this isn't even your top connection. You would say Stafford to Nacua is probably the top connection. Then you've got a secondary connection of Stafford to Adams that is also this elite. You're going to have problems for a lot of opposing defenses. This is going to work against top teams in the NFL. It already has worked against top teams in the NFL. You get playoff time, it's going to be scary.
Oh, exactly. I think there was like one thing that they said on the broadcast too. You know, teams have issues with defense or offense. It's just, I think, the kicker situation. I think that's the only issue that you could say maybe like they want to kick a field goal here or there. Like, you know what, we don't trust our kicker, Cardi. The offense and the defense, I think this is one of the best units in the league for the Rams.
Certainly, I would say perhaps the most well-rounded team in the NFL.
Agreed. All right, to the last play we go. Rams up 35-20. 3rd and 2 on the 49ers 16-yard line, and Stafford with a dagger touchdown to Parkinson.
Yeah, this really is the dagger, and this is an example of a different way that we can utilize our tight ends in this offense. Now, this is a really fun concept here. It's not quite a mesh, but at the same time, you're seeing a lot of bodies in one place. Now, they're utilizing a play action here, so Stafford is faking the handoff to Kyren Williams or Blake Corum, but we're seeing a lot of block and release here. So block and release is another very deceptive motion that you can use with your tight end specifically, where they start to engage with the blocker, try and tell the defense that, hey, I'm sticking with my offensive line to protect the run that's coming here. But when it becomes a play action, we're going to release from the block. Get off your block, get into your route. Now, this worked especially well because Cody Parkinson pancaked his man. He got into his block, and he put him in the dirt. So at that point, Parkinson's wide open down the field. The defenders back here in the secondary are following this deep in route, and a couple guys are on this out route over here. So Parkinson's now wide open on the left side of the field. There's no one around him. So easy pass from Stafford to walk into the end zone. But I really just loved what's going down back inside the play, where Parkinson's engaged into a block. This motion man's engaged into a block. The out route is engaged into a block. They're all in this play really selling that it's going to be a run. And once we pull that ball back in, everyone drops off, gets into the routes. Parkinson's the one who ends up getting open. And just confusion everywhere. There's a man on the ground because Parkinson just pancaked him, and Stafford is not confused at all by it. He sees his man open, he gets his touchdown.
And Stafford, he had a no-look touchdown on this one. He no-looked and threw it to Parkinson. I mean, this is just an offense that's just firing all cylinders. And for a no-look pass in this game, this is just beautiful work.
Yeah, that's like one of Stafford's signature moves. He loves that no-looker. And honestly, I don't think he needed to do it here because he was so wide open, but a little flair on it for your 4th touchdown. Why not? I mean, it's a hell of a day for him. And props to Sean McVay, too. I mean, he's one of the best offensive minds in the league. And he draws up plays like this every week. But it's still, you do something each week that gives you a little bit of a surprise from Sean McVay. And there's nothing all that crazy about a block and release or a play action. But when it all comes together like this, you really enjoy watching it, and it leads to a wide-open touchdown.
And Sean McVay, I mean, you said it perfectly. He uses 13 personnel. That's when you have 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 3 tight ends. It was the second most in terms of rate used in that personnel since 2016. This is just beautiful work by the Rams, just using different guys, putting guys out like Parkinson, Higbee, you name it, Ferguson, their 2nd-round pick, and just utilizing their guys and utilizing their skill sets.
Yeah, versatility is what this offense has, and they can put anyone out there at any time, any combination of their guys, and feel confident in it. This is just another example of that. We saw 2 other plays where they did way different things, and it still worked out perfectly. Sean McVay is going to keep doing this, and I'm sure he's got a lot stashed in his pocket for the playoffs that are going to be even crazier than this kind of stuff.
Definitely. I can't wait for that Seattle Rams game next week. It's going to be a really good one. All right, to the last segment, and it's going to be those 2 wide receivers, Puka Nacua and Davante Adams. They were just lining it up on that secondary. And Matthew Stafford, you have to love it if you're Matthew Stafford, just having those 2 guys, to deploy.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks don't get a group like this. A lot of quarterbacks don't get just one of these guys. Stafford's got 2 of them, so that's really helping him in his MVP case because he's got 2 top wide receivers to throw to. But at the same time, props to these two guys because they are, Adams has been doing this for a while, but Puka in the last couple of years has really molded himself into one of, if not the best wide receiver in football. He is just always out there, always getting open, using his legs as we saw earlier in the episode. He's going to cement himself as the years go on as a top wide receiver in not just the NFL, but maybe in Rams history. He really is just going after it week after week. Davante Adams, we know he's going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no question there. Sure, a couple shaky years recently, but when you go to the Jets, all bets.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
All bets are off. But Adams, he's been doing this for a while. He's a true professional. He's really just so good at what he does. And when he gets separation, you're in trouble when you're a defense. So. And two great guys who are going to continue to ball out as the season goes on.
And the Rams, they only went to the NFC Championship game last year, but I just feel like they needed that one spark. And obviously they have Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp, yeah, he wasn't that great last year. He was tough. It was hard to separate, against the defenders. Getting Davante Adams, I don't think we can say it enough. I feel like that was like the missing puzzle piece in this offense. You have those two guys, Kyron Williams, the tight ends. There's just too many. There's a lot of mouths to feed, and that's a good thing if you're the Rams.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed, and Stafford has no problem feeding all of them. I mean, we saw 2 touchdowns from Kyron Williams. We saw a touchdown from Davante Adams. We saw a touchdown for Puka Nacua. We saw a touchdown for Parkinson. Everyone was eating, and there was no trouble. They scored 40-something points. This offense has the capability to feed all those mouths, and they're going to get wins when they do so. Because when you score 40 points, you're not going to lose many of those games.
It's crazy to think that either the Seahawks or the Rams are going to have to go on the road in that first playoff game because one of them has to win the division. Who do you think is going to win that division? Because it's neck and neck right now. And who do you think will take it to get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Right now, the Seahawks are in front of the Rams in the standings. The Seahawks are the number 1 seed in the NFC. This meeting next week is going to certainly give us a lot of answers. But again, Seahawks put up 40 points this week. The Rams put up 40 points this week. So it's going to be either a very high-powered game or it's going to be a dogfight in the trenches. And I'm excited to find out. Right now, I would lean towards the Rams. I think they have a bit more of a veteran presence and mindset just with the quarterback, the head coach, guys like Davante Adams. They definitely have more experience when they get there. But don't count out Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I certainly don't like the Seahawks running game as much as I like the Rams running game. So for now, I would give it to the Rams. I like what they're doing. I think they have an MVP on their team, and they've got good prospects going forward.
I think we both have stamp of approval for the Rams to make it to the Super Bowl. I think you agree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it here at Football X's and O's. You can catch us every Monday. We also have Ain't That Our Bowl every Thursday. Please like and subscribe and let us know in the comments if you think the Rams or the Seahawks will make it to the Super Bowl.